Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Vande Guru-paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev Bila. You can begin with the 13th chapter. Maybe you can chant the first 3 or 4 shlokas and then we'll get started.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञ विभागयोगः अर्जुन उवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यज्ञानं मतं मम यतज्ञानं मतं मम क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यतज्ञानं मतं मम तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु. The nature of the knower and the known. Introduction. The tradition looks upon the entire Gita as having its subject matter in the Mahavakya. Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. This statement contains the whole teaching. You means the person who is addressed, the Jiva, who wants to be enlightened. That is Ishvara, the Lord, to whom The individual is equated in this statement, Tat Tvam Asi. In the first 6 chapters, the Gita Shastra unfolds the meaning of you, Tvam. The first chapter reveals Arjuna's sadness. The individual Jiva is always sad, sometimes acutely, otherwise chronically. Chronic sadness is managed through various routes of escape like dance, music, movies, accomplishments, exhibition of skills, and so on. But sometimes it becomes acute as it has for Arjuna. He no longer wants to resort to any mode of escape, but wants to address the problem. Thus, in the second chapter, we saw Arjuna discovering in Krishna a teacher and seeking a solution and placing himself at the Lord's feet as a disciple. And Lord Krishna accepted him as a disciple and began teaching him, not simply advising him. Thus, the teaching began. Knowledge of the real meaning of the word Tvam, the Pratyagatma, was unfolded as Avinashi, not subject to destruction, Nitya, eternal, Aja, the one who is unborn and not subject to change, Avyaya, who cannot harm nor be harmed, that is, one who is neither subject nor object. Veda avinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purushah partha kam ghatayati hanti kam. I will just repeat this. This is very
I think
profound.
it's
I'll repeat.
Hantikim, right?
I'm sorry.
Hantikim.
Hanti Kam. Okay, Hanti Kim. It is, I think, chapter 2, verse 21 and 23. I'll just uh, read those two shlokas. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajamavyayam katham sapurusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. I will read this few lines once again. And Lord Krishna accepted him as a disciple and began teaching him, not simply advising him. Thus, the teaching began. Knowledge of the real meaning of the word Tvam, the Pratyagatma, was unfolded as Avinashi, not subject to destruction, Nitya, eternal, Aja, the one who is unborn and not subject to change, Avyaya, who cannot harm nor be harmed, that is, one who is neither subject nor object. Veda avinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sapurushah partha kam ghatayati hanti kam. It was also said, weapons do not cut him, fire does not burn him. Na enam chindanti shastrani, na enam dahati pavakah. In these various vakyas, the nature of the Pratyagatma, which is equated to Ishvara, was unfolded. Though they are one, there is a seeming contradiction between the Jiva and Ishvara. Ishvara is omniscient, Sarvagnya, and the cause of everything, Sarva Karana, whereas the Jiva is Alpagnya, of limited knowledge and bound by the various laws, and so on. How are these to be equated? You have to understand what is meant by the word you, and therefore Bhagwan unfolds the Pratyagatma as the real meaning of the word you. In the second chapter, Lord Krishna presented the means Karma Yoga that will aid in gaining this knowledge. Then Arjuna expressed a doubt in the third chapter about whether he should adopt a life of sannyasa or continue with karma yoga, both of which are for the jiva. Then the fourth chapter unfolds the real nature of sannyasa as the giving up of action through knowledge. Jnana karma sannyasa, again revealing that Pratyagatma is not an agent of any action. It is a karta, the one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is the one who has discrimination, who is united to Ishvara and has done all that is to be done. Karmani akarma yah pashyet akarmani cha karma yah sa buddhiman manusheshu sa yuktah kritsna karma krita. I think that is from the chapter 4, verse 80. So I repeat the fourth chapter. The shloka says, Karmanya karmaya pashyed akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyesu sayukta kritsna karma krita. Then the fourth chapter unfolds the real nature of sannyasa as the giving up of action through knowledge, jnana karma sannyasa, again revealing that Pratyagatma is not an agent of any action, it is a karta, the one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is the one who has discrimination, who is united to Ishvara and has done all that is to be done. Karmani akarma yah pashyet akarmani cha karma yah sa buddhiman manusheshu sa yuktah kritsna karma krita.
Akarmani. It's not akarmani, akarmani.
Akarmani, क्षम्यताम्. Akarma yah karmani akarma yah pashyet akarmani cha karma yah sa buddhiman manusheshu sa yuktah kritsna karma krita. In the fifth chapter, please let me know if anyone wants to share. In the fifth chapter, sannyasa is further unfolded, showing that the Pratyagatma is neither a doer, a karta, nor an enjoyer, a bhokta. Even seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, letting go, grasping, winking, and so on, the knower of the self does not perform any action. Pashyan, shrinvan, sprashan, jigran, ashnan, gachan, swapan, swashan, pralapan, visarjan, गृह्णान् उन्मिषन् निमिषन् अपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते इति धारयन् नैव किञ्चित् करोमि इति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित्. That is, I think, from the 6th chapter. In the 6th chapter, contemplation upon the Pratyagatma is advised. Having made the mind alive to the self, one should not dwell upon anything else as separate from the self. I repeat, there is a breaking of voice. Please let me know if it is disturbing. In the 6th chapter, contemplation upon the Pratyagatma is advised. Having made mind alive to the self, one should not dwell upon anything else as separate from the self. Atma samstham manah kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. This again is predominantly tvam padartha, even though the equation is shown. Thus, the first 6 chapters are centered on the word you in the sentence, that you are. So, that Pratyagatma Bhagwan is talking about. The whole emphasis changed dramatically even in the initial verses of the 7th chapter, where Bhagwan talked about Ishvara, the meaning of the word that, Tat Padartha, as the cause of the entire world, Jagat. In this 10th chapter, he talked of the glories, Vibhutis of Ishvara. In the 11th chapter, he showed his cosmic form, Vishwarupa, and in the 12th chapter, Krishna talked about Upasanas. When Ishvara is discussed, the Jiva becomes a devotee. Thus, the second group of 6 chapters, Dvitiya Shataka, deals predominantly with Ishvara. The third Shatka, the last 6 chapters of the Gita, talk about the identity of the Jiva and Ishvara and the means, upaya, for achieving that identity. Accordingly, certain values and attitudes are going to be discussed in these chapters. Shankara's long introduction to the 13th chapter is an indication of the importance of this chapter of the Gita. Kshamyatam. The third Shatka, the last 6 chapters of the Gita, talk about the identity of the Jiva and Ishvara and the means, upaya, for achieving that identity. Accordingly, certain values and attitudes are going to be discussed in these chapters. Shankara's long introduction to the 13th chapter is an indication of the importance of this chapter of the Gita. It reveals the identity between the Jiva and Ishvara and clearly discusses some terms which are vague. Some additions begin with the following question. In others, including the manuscript that Shankara had, it is omitted. If this verse had been there, Shankara's introduction would have been quite different. The verse, in the form of a question from Arjuna, reveals the various topics discussed in the 13th chapter. This verse probably was a later addition, but it is still a very intelligent way of introducing the entire 13th chapter of the Gita. Anyone can summarize a very beautiful introduction of all the first shatka and the second shatka, the Tattvamasi Padartha, which is very well summarized by Swamiji. So here Bhagwan is talking about that Pratyagatma, which is Avinashi, Avyaya, Aja, and Nitya. It cannot be destroyed by any means. And then there was Ishvara, who is omniscient, Sarvagya, and compared to him, the Jiva is Alpanya and Anitya. So Bhagwan unfolds the real meaning of the word "you." And then there are various means are given in the second chapter as told by Swamiji in Karma Sannyasa and Kshamata, I mean Karma Yoga, the life of sannyasi. And in the fourth chapter, the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, where the Pratyagatma is not a karta, he is a karta. And a bhokta also in the fifth chapter. All the actions, they are just happening like Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprashan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visarjana, Grihnam, Unmishan, Nimishanapi. So all the karmendriyas on I think I cannot explain well. If anyone can explain, this is very, very beautiful explanation by Swamiji. It is explaining the Tvam Padartha. And in the third Shatka, there will be the how to attain that identity between Ishvara and Jiva will be explained. So it starts with a beautiful question by Arjuna. So it will say the means or upaya for achieving that identity between Jiva and Ishvara. Ishvara who is Sarvagnya. Anyone would like to share? Kindly unmute and share. Okay, I will just go ahead. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnyameva Cha Etat Veditumichhami Jnanam Gneyam Cha Keshava. Arjuna Uvacha said, Prakritim, the nature, Purusham Chaiva, and indeed the person, Kshetram, feel, Kshetrajnam Evacha, and indeed the knower of the field. Jnanam, the means of knowledge, Gneyam Cha, and what is to be known, Etat Veditum Ichhami. This I wish to know. Keshava, O Keshava. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnam Evacha Jnanam Gneyam Cha Etat Veditum Ichhami Keshava. Arjuna said, this I wish to know, O Keshava, what is the nature and indeed the person, the field, and indeed the knower of the field, the means of knowledge and what is to be known. I repeat the question. Arjuna said, this I wish to know, O Keshava, what is the nature and indeed the person, the field, and indeed the knower of the means of knowledge and what is to be known. What Arjuna wants to know is grouped as three pairs of words. They are Prakriti and Purusha. Prakritim Purusham cha eva Kshetra and Kshetragna. Kshetram Kshetrajnam eva cha and Gnana and Gneya. Gnanam Gneyam cha. He wants to know what is meant by Prakriti and Purusha. This terminology of Prakriti and Purusha is common to both Sankhya school of thought and Vedanta. Similarly, he wants to know what is meant by Kshetrajna, the one who knows the Kshetra. So too, he wants to know what is Jnana and Gneya. Purusha, Kshetrajna and Gneya happen to be identical as do Prakriti and Kshetra. Because Arjuna has some confusion about these words, he asks for their definitions. I repeat the last line. He wants to know what is Jnana and Gneya. Purusha, Kshetrajna and Gneya happen to be identical as do Prakriti and Kshetra. Because Arjuna has some confusion about these words, he asks for their definitions. What is Gneya? Gneya means Jnana Yogya, that which must be known in one's life. That is not other than the Kshetrajna, the Purusha, Brahman. Thus, Gneya is Brahman. I repeat, what is Gneya? Gneya means Jnana Yogya, that which must be known in one's life, that is not other than the Kshetrajna, the Purusha, Brahman. Thus, Gneya is Brahman. And if one has to know, Arjuna also wants to know through what kind of mind, Jnana, can one know. Here the word Jnana refers to the Antahkarana, the instrument with which one can know. It has to be endowed with values like amanitva, etc. for Brahman to be known. I repeat, it has to be endowed with values like amanitva, etc. for Brahman to be known. That by which something is known is called jnana, as he will explain very clearly later. I think here we need to also recall the other values as well, along with amanitva, ahimsa, arjavam, all those values. Because through that antakarana only, the gneya can be recognized. The entire 13th chapter is nothing but the answers to these questions. Because Shankara did not have that verse, he introduced the chapter as follows. In the 7th chapter, two types of prakritis meaning nature of Parmeshwara, were mentioned briefly. One Prakriti consisting of three qualities, Trigunatmika, and divided into 8 factors. Ashtadha Bhinna is called Apara Prakriti because it is the cause of samsara. The other, Para Prakriti. I think there is a continuous breaking of voice. If it is disturbing, can someone take over reading? I can continue sharing the screen.
I think it's fine, Bilaji.
It's fine because there is continuous notification. Okay. I repeat, in the 7th chapter, 2 types of prakritis, meaning nature of Parmeshwara, were mentioned briefly. One prakriti consisting of 3 qualities, Trigunatmika, and divided into 8 factors, Ashtadha Bhinna, is called Apara Prakriti because it is the cause of samsara. The other Para Prakriti is the essential nature of the Jiva, characterized as the knower of the field of experience and the very nature of the Lord. Can someone describe briefly what is Apara and Para Prakriti? Apara has 2 types of
Apara is the anatma, no? The anatma part. Trigunatmak, like all the 3 gunas, and these 8 factors I also don't know. The Ashtada Bhinna.
8 factors.
8 factors. What are these 8 factors? I also don't know.
Ashtadha Bhinna.
Yeah, maybe
It is
we'll
all
read
the
further.
five jnanendriyas and the mind, intellect, and ego. Those, I think, are the
Okay,
8 that constitute
8.
the anatma. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And para is that Atma, that Brahman.
Yeah. Para is the pratyagatma, Brahman, Atma.
Okay, Para is Pratyagatma. Okay. The other Para Prakriti is the essential nature of the Jiva, characterized as the knower of the field of experience and the very nature of the Lord. Previously, it was described as indestructible, Akshara, limitless, Parama, and not subject to any modification, Avyaya. Please remember these all beautiful words, Akshara, Parama, and Avyaya. Because of these 2 Prakritis, Ishvara gains the status of creator, sustainer, and destroyer of this world. The word Prakriti means both nature, Swabhava, and cause, Karana. Both Atma and Maya are called as Prakriti because both are the cause of creation, Jagat Karana. Atma alone is not Jagat Karana, nor is Maya without Atma. Therefore, both are called Prakriti, the cause. Together, they are called as Prakriti, that is divided in a twofold way. One Apara Prakriti comprises the 3 gunas, Trigunatmika, and the other Para Prakriti is Satchidatmika. Satchidatmika. This twofold Prakriti accounts for Ishvara being the cause for this entire Jagat. Another word for Apara Prakriti is Kshetra, and for Paraprakriti is Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. This is one of the traditional methods of unfoldment, Prakriya, in Vedanta known as the seer seen methodology or the subject object Prakriya that is used to show the nature, Swarupa of Ishvara. Shankara has to say this because in his manuscript, the chapter opens abruptly with a new topic, not preceded by the question, which appears in later editions. So Arjuna's question was not there. It was just the beginning by about the Prakriti and Purusha. So the question was added later. There are two types of Prakriti, Apara and Para. As Para Prakriti is Satchidatmika and Apara is Trigunatmika. Anyone wants to share?
Bela, can you read that sentence which says Atma alone is not the cause, Maya alone is not the cause, but it's
Yes.
to get.
Yes.
You read that sentence again, those two sentences.
Yeah. Because of these two Prakritis, Ishvara gains the status of creator, sustainer, and destroyer of this world. The word Prakriti means both nature, Swabhava, and cause, Karana. Both Atma and Maya are called as Prakriti because both are the cause of creation, Jagat Karana. Atma alone is not Jagat Karana, nor is Maya without Atma. Therefore, both are called Prakriti, the cause. Together they are called as Prakriti, that is divided in a twofold way. One, Apara Prakriti comprises the three gunas, Trigunatmika, and the other Para Prakriti is Satchidatmika. This twofold Prakriti accounts for Ishvara being the cause for his entire Jagat. Another word for Apara Prakriti is Kshetra, and for Para Prakriti is Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. This is one of the traditional methods of unfoldment, Prakriya, in Vedanta, known as the seer-seen methodology, or the subject-object Prakriya that is used to show the nature, Swarupa of Ishvara. Shankara has to say this because in his manuscript, the chapter opens abruptly with a new topic, not preceded by the question which appears in later editions. So very beautiful, no? It is this Sharira has one is Trigunatmika and another is Satchidatmika. So they both coexist. You cannot have the manifestation unless either Maya or Atma. Both alone cannot create. Can you explain Brahmaraji in a simple way? Because so
Yeah.
Paraprakriti is Kshetrajna. Yeah.
The very fact that Ishvara takes um, the role of the creator, sustainer, and destroyer is because of these two, the combination of Atma as well as Maya. Alone, without Maya, he will not be able to create. And Maya alone, again, will not be able to create. So you require these two. Therefore, these two form the cause as well as the creation, both. And it's twofold. The Prakriti itself is of twofold, which is one is the Para Prakriti, which is Sachidatmika, that is, and then the other one is the Apara Prakriti, which is all the manifest world. Which is
I think
Duguna.
combination of Shiva and Shakti.
Yeah, whatever you call it, whether you call it Atma Maya or Brahma Maya or Shiva Shakti, both are required. Both the unmanifest and the manifest are required for you to have the world, have creation. Creation, sustenance, and dissolution. That cycle will require the combination of these two. And then the whole journey is about going back and understanding that Tattvamasi. And like it was said, Swamiji mentioned, between Purusha, Prakriti, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Jnaya. Jnaya is nothing but the Pratyagatma or the Atma that we need to realize or recognize, which is the same as Purusha, which is the same as Kshetrajna. Whereas Prakriti is the same as Kshetra, which is the field of creation, the whole seen and unseen world of creation. And Jnanam here is the means of knowledge, the means with which it is likened to the Antakarana. We can continue, Bela.
Yes. Towards the end of the 12th chapter, beginning with Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, up to the end of the chapter, the expression of the renunciation, the expression of the renunciate, the knowers of the truth is told. I repeat the sentence. Towards the end of the 12th chapter, beginning with Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, up to the end of the chapter, the expression of the renunciates, the knowers of the truth is told. And the Lord says that such jnanis are very deep. So may Priya. Then again, endowed with what knowledge does. Then again, endowed with what knowledge does one become so dear to Bhagwan. Oh, there is a question, sorry. Then again, endowed with what knowledge does one become so dear to Bhagwan? That this knowledge is nothing but knowledge of the identity of the Jiva and Ishvara has to be shown, and thus the 13th chapter is begun. Further, the Prakriti comprising of the three gunas and undergoing modifications is assembled in the form of the body, mind, sense complex of a person for the purpose of accomplishing the enjoyment of karma phala or for gaining moksha. This is the Apara Prakriti, which undergoes modifications and gives the physical and psychological body to a jiva for bhoga as well as moksha. I repeat this line, please remember. This is the apara prakriti which undergoes modifications and gives the physical and psychological body to a jiva for bhoga as well as moksha. Therefore, Lord Krishna starts with idam shariram to begin the unfoldment of what exactly is the swarupa of this kshetrajna and kshetra, using the subject-object method of inquiry. Drik, Drishya, Viveka, Prakriya. श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः. Shri Bhagavan, the Lord, Uvacha said, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, idam shariram, this body, kshetram iti, as field, abhidhiyate, is called etat yah veti, the one who knows this, tam, him, tadvidah, the knowers of that, prahuhu, speak of all, kshetrajnah iti, the knower of the field. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kaunteya idam shariram kshetram iti abhidhiyate etad vetti tam tadvidah prahuhu kshetrajnah iti. Shri Bhagavan said, O Arjuna, this body is called field. Those who know that knowledge of the kshetra and kshetrajna call him who knows this as the knower of the field. Kshetra and the Kshetrajna. In his answer, Lord Krishna reorganizes the whole question. Instead of defining Purusha and Prakriti, even though they were mentioned first in the question, he chooses to define Kshetra and Kshetrajna because they have the same meaning as Prakriti and Purusha. The terms Kshetra and Kshetrajna are less confusing as they do not have the connotations imposed upon Purusha and Prakriti by the Sankhyas and can therefore be more easily understood. Therefore, we can assume that Lord Krishna chooses to address first Kshetra and Kshetrajna and then Gneya and Jnana. Finally, he talks about Purusha and Prakriti. Arjuna is addressed here as Kaunteya, son of Kunti. In Sanskrit, people are named not only according to their paternal lineage, but also as here according to their maternal lineage, because it was understood that both are important. Idam shariram means this body. The word this is used only for an object which is not remote in time or place. Only what is right in front of you can be referred to by the word this. Krishna may have even touched his own body and said, this body, idam shariram, is called kshetra. Then he says that they call the one who knows, yaha veti, this etat, referring to this sharira as kshetrajna. Who are they? Tadvidaha, those who know the Kshetra and Kshetrajna distinctly. Here a lot has to be unfolded, but let us first see the meaning of Kshetra. Kshetra, a place, specifically a place of pilgrimage or a place of cultivation, generally a place where you reap fruit. The Gita opens with Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. This body is called Kshetra, the place wherein you can reap the fruits of Punya and Papa, and is therefore a Dharma Kshetra. And it is a Karma Kshetra because being endowed with a free will, you are qualified to do karma. One more word has to be added here. Idam Manushya Shariram is what is called Kshetra. Later, he is going to expand on this to include any object. That being so, why does he confine the definition to Idam Shariram here? It is easy to understand that any object is a Kshetra, but not so with the body. I take it as Kshetrajna, the knower of all things. In other words, I take the body as I, Atma, not as Anatma. Therefore, I have to distinguish the Kshetrajna only from the body because I do not take any other object other than this body, mind, sense complex as Atma and suffer from its limitations. I do not take the pumpkin as myself, and so no Viveka is necessary. I do not need to be told very seriously, you are not a pumpkin. Only where there is a Viveka does one require Viveka. No one has such a lack of discrimination between an object other than the physical body and himself. Since there is no confusion of taking the object as himself, no Viveka is necessary. Bhagwan begins right at the locus of the aviveka, the physical body, which is taken as Atma. Even though a table, for example, is also a kshetra, it is not mentioned here at all because it is not mistaken for Atma. The kshetrajna also has to be defined because people generally take the physical body as the kshetrajna. Then who is the kshetrajna? If we say it is the one who knows the kshetra, then even a rat looking at my physical body is a kshetrajna. But that is not so. The kshetrajna is the one who looks at this body from within. That is, the one who objectifies this body from within, just as he objectifies the world outside. Here in this verse, this physical body is Kshetra, and the one who sees this physical body as an object from within, the Drik, seer, is the Kshetrajna. Sharira is that which is subject to disintegration. Shiryamana Swabhavam Shariram. I repeat, Sharira is that which is subject to disintegration. I hope I'm correct in the pronunciation. Shiryamana Swabhavam Shariram, otherwise called Deha. That which is subject to be burnt. I think it must be Kshiramana. Kshiramana Swabhavam Shariram. Sharira is that which is subject to disintegration. Kshiramana Swabhavam Shariram, otherwise called Deha. That which is subject to be burnt, that is cremated. Dahana Yogyam Shariram. The entire physical, physiological, psychological complex, including the causal, subtle, and physical bodies, is called Kshetra. And the one who knows it is Kshetrajna. Shankara has a few things to say. By the pronoun idam, this Bhagavan qualifies the word Sharira and then defines it as Kshetra. We have seen the popular meanings of Kshetra. Here Shankara gives the etymological meaning. Vyuta Patyartha. Vyutapatartha. If I am mistaken, kindly correct me. The footnote says Shankara gives the etymological meaning of the word Kshetra by giving four possible meanings. They are as follows. 1. Kshatranat Kshetram. Because it protects one from falling into samsara, it is called a kshetra. Kshayat kshetram, because it undergoes kshaya, destruction, it is called kshetra. Ksharanat kshetram, because it is subject to disintegration, it is called kshetra. Kshetravat kshetram, because one reaps the fruits of one's actions through the body, it is like a cultivable land through which one harvests the crops one has sown and is therefore called Kshetra. So beautifully, the word Kshetra is defined with the etymological meaning. Kshata Tranat Kshetram. Kshayat Kshetram. Ksharanat Kshetram. Kshetravata Kshetram. The body is used here as an instrument for bhoga as well as moksha. So that kshetra is defined.
The first one, it says because it protects one from falling into samsara, it is called kshetra. But already we are in samsara, right? The body is in samsara, isn't it? Then how?
Yeah, that is why it is an instrument for moksha as well. The one who is the knower, who knows this difference, that it is just an instrument.
So this is a definition for kshetra, isn't it?
Kshetra, correct, correct.
So it is talking about the body. And now here it says because it protects one from falling into samsara, it is called kshetra. But the body is product of samsara, isn't it?
Yes, but with knowledge, Vivek Buddhi, I think that is what will
In
be
this
explained.
paragraph, this last
And
paragraph has described this first point. The human body is kshetra because it saves you from falling down. Shata Tranad. With this human form, one is capable of following dharma and therefore gathering punya, which will save you from falling into the body of a lower life form. So to prevent that, so that you do not fall into the lower life, that is why it is protecting us from falling into the samsara, so that you do action according to dharma, and you lead on to that path of moksha and do not fall into the lower form. So this is that Shatatranat Kshetram. First point is described, no, here.
Yeah.
This is how you will save yourself from samsara, when you
This
do not fall.
idam shariram, like what Krishna says, he hits the nail right there. He's not talking of pumpkins or tables and chairs, no. So this idam shariram is what we identify ourselves as Atma. This idam shariram has twofold. One of bhoga, you enjoy the samsara, or for moksha, both. It is the means for both bhoga as well as moksha. That is why Shankaracharya is giving 4 definitions of the kshetra. First one is that which protects, that takes you on the moksha marg. It is only through the human form that you can attain this, isn't it? You cannot attain it in any other form. And then there are those three other definitions.
Nandita, can someone help in reading, please?
Yeah, I can read if some other person wants, and you can go ahead. Otherwise, I am comfortable reading.
Yeah, dhanyavad. You can read from this here
Yeah, this
once
last
again.
paragraph.
Yeah, please. Dhanyavad.
By the pronoun idam, this Bhagwan qualifies the word sharira and then define it as kshetra. We have seen the popular meanings of kshetra. Here Shankara gives the etymological meaning vyutpatyartha. The human body is a kshetra because it saves you from falling down. Shatatranat. With this human form, one is capable of following dharma and therefore gathering punya, which will save you from falling into the body of a lower life form. It can give you moksha also. That is why this body is a place of pilgrimage. It helps you save yourself from falling into the lower wombs, and with this same human physical body, which is alive and in which there is a mind, etc., you can also save yourself from samsara. Whether it helps you save yourself relatively or absolutely from samsara, it deserves to be called a kshetra. You can lift the page, Belaji. Shall I read this again, the meanings, or I think we have read? Okay. The Gita opens with the following verse. Dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvat sanjaya. This verse can also be explained subjectively. This body is a dharmkshetra because it is brought into being by punya, which is the result of dharma. A human birth is very difficult to attain. Nara, naraj, narajanama durlabham, and can only come about as a result of punya, and therefore the human form is called a dharmashetra, or it is a form in which punya rather than papa is predominant, and is therefore Dharma Kshetra. So it is called Dharma Kshetra because more of Punya is there. Papa is less, and that is why we have this human body, because more Punya is there. So it is also a Dharma Kshetra because only with the human form can you create Punya. Because this, it is also a Dharma Kshetra because only with the human form can you create Punya. Because of this, it is also called Kurukshetra, a place where you can gain Purushartha, whether it be dharma, artha, kama, or moksha. In this Dharma Kshetra, which is also Kurukshetra, two groups have assembled desiring to fight. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. The mind is the arena of this battle. Of the two armies that have assembled, one belongs to the descendants of Pandu, which means white, and it symbolizes proper discrimination, Viveka. The descendants of Viveka are all the proper way of thinking, values, etc., born of discriminative knowledge, Viveka Jnana. The other army is the Dhritarashtra paraphrases. The other army is, as Dhritarashtra paraphrases it, Mamakas, those that belong to me, consisting of all likes and dislikes, born of Ahankara, which has its roots in ignorance. These hordes of ignorance born likes and dislikes are in conflict with Viveka Jnana. Dhritarashtra wants to know what is the outcome of the struggle between these two forces that is taking place in the body, in this body, and what follows is the entire Gita. Very beautiful. Here it is important to understand that this is not purely a subjective interpretation. In order for such a battle to be waged externally, it is first fought in the mind. Otherwise, it would never manifest. All external conflicts arise first in the mind. When Hitler declared war, the battle was already being fought in his mind. We do not say that nothing happened externally, just that it happened internally first. What is outside is, after all, an expression of what is inside, so that anything that takes place outside can be viewed subjectively also. This is important to understand because in the subjective treatment of the Mahabharata, there is a danger of dismissing history, which we need not do. This is important to understand because in the subjective treatment of the Mahabharata, there is a danger of dismissing history, which we need not do. This body is a kshetra, even though it is subject to disintegration as a human body. Its purpose is not merely to disintegrate, but to serve as kshetra. It is called kshetra because it can save you from destruction. What was that? Shatatrayate. Shatatrayate, that is, it helps you to overcome dukkha. Or like a field of cultivation, this body is also a kshetra, since in it you can reap the fruits of karma. The one who knows, shall I read this paragraph again? This body is a kshetra, even though it is subject to disintegration as a human body. Its purpose is not merely to disintegrate, but to serve as kshetra. It is called kshetra because it can save you from destruction. Shatatrayate, that is, it helps you to overcome dukkha. Or like a field of cultivation, this body is also a kshetra, since in it you can reap the fruits of karma. The one who knows this body as a kshetra is a kshetrajna. Belaji lived, yeah. How does one know? The one who knows this body as a kshetra is a kshetrajna. How does one know? Shankara says, from the sole of the feet to the top of the head, apada tala mastaka, the entire body up to the extremities is known as conscious because one sense organ, the sense of touch, is all over the body. It reveals the Chaitanya Atma, which is exactly the Swarupa of the Kshetrajna, because of whom alone the body is also an object of knowledge. The Kshetrajna is the one who objectifies this body in terms of knowledge. Further, Shankara points out that he does this very naturally, swabhavakena, without being taught.
Shamyata, swabhavikena.
Swabhavikena, right?
Swabhavikena, swabhavikena.
Swabhavikena, okay. Further, Shankara points out that he does this very naturally, swabhavikena, without being taught. Alternatively, his capacity for this objectifications may be upadeshika, born of the teachings of the Shastra and the Guru. Though it can be arrived at without being taught, because it is an observable fact, still the help of a teacher may be required to point out the distinction between the body and the observer of the body. Otherwise, the body is taken to be Kshetrajna, the Atma. In order to distinguish the Atma from the Sharira, teaching is helpful and sometimes even necessary. So Shankara adds the word Upadesika here, the one who is able to objectify every part of this body as an object of knowledge, either because of the teaching or through his own observation, is called the Kshetrajna. By whom is he called this? Those who know about this Tadvidaha, who knows about the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. But they are known only to this extent. The one who knows this body, which includes the mind and senses, as the Kshetra, is the Kshetrajna. This is not all that is to be known. About this Kshetrajna, a fact has to be revealed by the Shastra. So this last paragraph, like this last part, is all about the Kshetrajna. If you want, I can again read it, this last Swarupa of Kshetrajna. Swarup, yeah.
Is it from the previous page or this page is okay,
Yeah,
Dr.
from
Savita?
the previous page, just this last, yeah. The
Okay.
one who, yeah. We read this Kshetra, no? This body Kshetra, we read this. Now he's describing the Kshetra. The one who knows this body as a Kshetra is a Kshetrajna. How does one know? Shankara says, from the sole of the feet to the top of the head, apada tala mastaka, the entire body up to the extremities is known as conscious because once
Apada talamastaka.
Apada tala. Shankara says from the sole of the feet to the top of the head, apada tala mastaka, the entire body up to the extremities is known as conscious because one sense organ, the sense of touch, is all over the body. It reveals the Chaitanya Atma, which is exactly the Swarupa of the Kshetrajna, because of whom alone the body is also an object of knowledge. Can you explain this, Dr. Brahmara? Like, by this help of this sense organ?
For instance,
Swarupa of
I'm actually having a direct experience of this. I'm actually doing my sadhana outside, and there are lots of flies around here. So the very fact that I'm able to experience the fly sitting on my skin, whichever part of the body they're landing on, it is giving me that sense of experience. I'm conscious about that, isn't it? So
yes,
from the foot to the head, there is this one sense organ that covers the whole body, and that is like an antenna for our experience. And you're conscious of that. You're not conscious of the fly landing on the sand or on the soil or on a table, chair. I'm conscious of the fly landing on my skin. So therefore, this consciousness, apada talamastaka, it pervades through from the sole of the foot to the top of the head, and that gives us it is giving the kshetrajna a chance to objectify the body.
yeah, the Swarupa of the Kshetrajna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Swarupa of the kshetrajna is consciousness.
yes.
Why am I able to know this? Because I'm conscious of it. If I was asleep, probably I will not be able to know the fly landing on my skin. But because I'm awake, because I'm conscious,
Right.
you're able to experience that, and therefore you're able to objectify it.
Yes. So the Kshetrajna is one who objectifies his body in terms of knowledge. Right. Okay. Further, Shankara points out that he does this very naturally, swabhavikena, without being taught. This hasn't been taught by anyone. It is our own swabhava. Alternatively, his capacity for this objectification may be upadeshika. Sorry. Alternatively, his capacity for this objectification may be upadeshika, born of the teaching of Shastra and the Guru. Though it can be arrived at without being taught, because it is an observable fact, still the help of a teacher may be required to point out the distinction between the body and the observer of the body. Otherwise, the body is taken to be Kshetrajna, the Atma. Okay, the teacher will help, the Guru will help you to to make a distinction between that body and the mind body sense complex and the anatma. Observer is the atma. Otherwise, the body is taken to be kshetrajna, the atma. In order to distinguish the atma from the sharira, teaching is helpful and sometimes even necessary. So Shankara adds the word upadeshika here, the one who is able to objectify every part of this body as an object of knowledge, either because of the teaching or through his own observation, is called the Kshetrajna. By whom is he called this? Those who know about this Tadvidaha, who knows about the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. But they are known only to this extent. The one who knows this body, which includes the mind and senses, as the Kshetra, is the Kshetrajna. This is not all that is to be known. About this Kshetrajna, a fact has to be revealed by the Shastra. I think we should stop here. It's near about 9.
Yeah, I think we'll stop here and we can do Manana.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful to know it is Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra as well. And this is the body where we reap the fruits of our actions.
I was just thinking like how the God, the Ishvara, has given us all tools, and still we are not able to gather ourselves and move on that path. We have given all the tools that this body, mind, sense, intellect, everything we have. And because of that ignorance, we are so like scattered around. We have to gather ourselves and be focused. And it is such a blessing to be in a human form that you can strive for it, you can think, and you can move on. Other forms, they are so in a helpless state, and this is all because of some punya we have achieved this human body, but we waste all the potential that has been given to us. This is an irony of life. Reading this thought was coming into my mind.
And Prakriti's Atma and Maya together is Prakriti. And I think last week when Devi Gita was read, it is said that that's why it is neither totally not untrue, nor it is complete truth. And this Dharma Kshetra, it's a mind where the right and wrong wars happen. How nicely it has been explained, Pandavas and Dhritarashtra Kauravas. So beautiful.
In the introduction, Swamiji talks of how the shoka can be of twofold. One is, and the solutions to the shoka, one is just to have an escape. Escapist attitude. You involve yourself in doing something, or um, involving your senses, or doing something to achieve something. The second way of getting out of shoka, of grief, is one pointed, single pointed. You become a student and approach the teacher, which is what Arjuna does in the second chapter. In the first chapter, it was all generalized shoka, and then he gave so many explanations as to why he should not be doing what he should not be fighting the war. So it is for us also to reflect as to when we are caught up in some situation that requires us to process it, rather than escaping into maybe doing some singing, some bhajan and things like that. We need to internally process it with the viveka that we have learned, with the knowledge and wisdom that we have understood so far. That becomes that single pointed solution for shoka. That is one thing I wanted to share. And the second is the Dharma Kshetra. The Kshetra itself is, of course, it is the Idam Shariram, yes, but not only is it equated to Prakriti, it is also a pilgrimage. For me, that the very imagination that this body is like a pilgrimage, it's such a pious place, and how we need to take care of the pious place, keep it clean, keep it tidy, and that is the place where the Dharma Kshetra, it is there for you to either enjoy the samsara as well as to move towards moksha. It is through the human form that you're able to express and live dharmically. And in that you have the Pandus, which Pandu is white actually, so that signifies Viveka. And then you have the Mamakas, which signifies how you live your life according to your likes and dislikes. So this is the eternal conflict within our own mind. Dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. So this internal struggle, it all depends on how strong your viveka is. If your viveka is strong and centered and you're using it, then of course you will have a say over your likes and dislikes. And that antakarana shuddhi happens, where finally the victory happens, where you recognize yourself as Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi is where you can proclaim. Whereas if you are overpowered by your mamakas, likes and dislikes, I think like most of us we are in a mix. Our life is governed by some of our likes and dislikes. And apart, there is some viveka. That is why we are able to even pursue this knowledge. So that was
Mamakas is what is the meaning of mamakas? Is mind, right?
mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dhritarashtra is
That's
actually
how beautifully it is placed over here because it shows the attachment, isn't it? Mind.
yeah, correct. Right. So the key here is to have that viveka. Viveka makes you realize what is true, what is not true, what is satya and asatya, nitya, anitya, all of that. Then it gives you that grounding nature. So that was a very beautiful thing. And then Swamiji also cautioned, he says, if you subjectify this a lot, then you may not give history importance. So we need to use this analogy as well as respect that there is that history part, which that actually that there was this Kurukshetra and then the Pandavas and Kauravas. Otherwise, we may tend to belittle that history if we take everything to be just we internalize all of this. So any external conflict begins in the mind. Like he was mentioning Hitler, it started off, the war started in his mind and then he externalized it. So yat drishti tat srishti. So whatever is within is what happens without. Very beautiful insights today.
And in that sense, are we not the Ishwaras? Because we create these things in our mind.
We
And
are, no, we are. That is what the whole
Mm.
Gita is saying. You are nothing but Ishvara.
Yeah, we can also say
Each of us,
Pashyame Yoga Ishvara.
yeah, you are the center of the universe. Wherever you are the center of the universe. You are the creator. You are the creator of your destiny. We are our own. That is why that your mind is either your friend or your enemy. For a jnani, it is the eternal friend. For an ajnani who is reeling in samsara, it's like an eternal enemy because it pushes you towards misery. Because you're so caught up in that hridaya granthi of avidya. Whereas for a jnani, it is an eternal friend. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, doesn't matter whatever he's doing, he is just him. He's not touched. So we are our own creators. So shall we stop here today and we'll continue tomorrow?
Yeah,
Nan,
this
I just
body
wanted
as a pilgrimage, that word,
right.
very beautiful. The whole day we will keep this in mind.
Yeah. There is
I'm
a
sorry you
beautiful
were telling.
I know there is a beautiful stotra called Shiva Manasa Puja, which talks of how you this whole body is like a temple, and how everything is, how you offer everything. Ratnai kalpitamasanam himajalai snanam cha divyambaram नानारत्न विभूषितं मृगमदा मोदाङ्कितं चन्दनम् जाजी चम्पकबिल्वपत्ररचितं पुष्पं च धूपं तथा दीपं देवदयानिधे पशुपते हृत्कल्पितं गृह्यताम् सौवर्णे नवरत्नखण्डरचिते पात्रे घृतं पायसम् भक्ष्यं पञ्चविधं पयोदधियुतं रम्भाफलं पानकम् शाखानामयुतं जलं रुचिकरं कर्पूरखण्डोज्ज्वलम् ताम्बूलं मनसा मया विरचितं भक्त्या प्रभो स्वीकुरु छत्रं चामरयोर्युगं व्यजनकं च आदर्शकं निर्मलम् वीणाभेरिमृदङ्गकाहलकला गीतं च नृत्यं तथा साष्टाङ्गं प्रणतिस्तुतिर्बहुविधा एतत् समस्तं मया सङ्कल्पेन समर्पितं तव विभोः पूजां गृहाण प्रभो आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामतिः सहचराः प्राणाः शरीरं गृहम् पूजा ते विषयोपभोगरचना निद्रा समाधिस्थितिः सञ्चारः पदयोः प्रदक्षिणविधिः स्तोत्राणि सर्वा गिरो यद्यत् कर्म करोमि तत्तदखिलं शम्भो तवाराधनम् करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वापराधम् विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतत्क्षमस्व जय जय करुणाब्धे श्रीमहादेव शम्भो
Very beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Dhanyavad, Brahmaraji.
आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामति
That is so beautiful,
यद्यत्
isn't it?
कर्म करोमि
So
तत्तदखिलं
this
शम्भो
this
तवाराधनम्.
kshetra being the body, I mean, if I this came this just I mean, I used to chant this when I was younger, and I continue to chant it. So this is actually a manasa puja. If you can actually you know bring this to our awareness, that this body itself is a temple, and you're praying to that the Shiva that is inside of you.
Atma tvam girijamati means
Mm,
Parvati is your own
mind.
buddhi.
Right.
So
The
beautiful.
Sansara is
I will
recorded and
no, I will
sent
share. Yeah. I will share this as sung by someone else. I mean, I'll share this with the lyrics, and it's a beautiful introspective prayer.
Yeah,
So,
some lady from German ashram has sung it so well long back, like 25, 30 years back. That lady, I don't remember her name. She is from
Even your
Tamil Nadu.
voice, Brahmaraji, was so meditative.
Mhm.
It gave so much of bliss. Dhanyavad.
So before we close, yeah, thank you. Before we close, I think all this is grace only, no? It is all his vibhuti. Not I think, it is his vibhuti. So the thing is regarding the first two sessions of the Ratna Upanishad Ratnakaram, because the shlokas chanted were not very clear because of the audio problem. Nana has actually re-recorded the whole thing, just the mantras and the meanings. That I will share in the group whenever we have time. We can all listen to that, and
It
I
is
just
there on the YouTube. I listened it
yeah, it is
yesterday.
there
I
on
was
the
thinking,
YouTube. Yeah,
yeah,
put it on the YouTube.
I too
yeah,
listened yesterday itself live when it was
Okay,
recording.
very good.
yeah.
So just wanted to share that with those of you who were not able to access that. I will put it in the group. So we'll continue tomorrow. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
ॐ लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु